You're live at Tom House, November 28th, 2018, with the luscious, delicious Jordan Green.
It's green now. Oh, now I'm more comfortable.
So, we need to look that way.
Right.
Yeah. And so, let's just go back in time a little bit, and because now you actually work here at the Tom Finland Foundation.
Yes.
And I was actually sharing something with those guests yesterday, and it was about how we made it workable for you, and that you are pursuing your theatrical aspirations.
Yes.
And so we wanted to support that, and we wanted to take advantage of your ability to help us and work in the office here.
Yeah.
And so
it's been amazing. It's been a really great transition from working catering and something that I don't really want to be. I don't want to be a caterer for the rest of my life. So immersing myself in art and other artists and people who are actively pursuing this lifestyle and this way of life has been really gratifying.
So when you came here, it was part of your intention, to my recollection, is that you wanted to actually be proactive about men of color and their presence in the community, and you wanted to actually bring that forward some more.
Yeah. I think what inspired it was you explaining to me about the mix-up and the construction of how Tom brought all races within even just the facial features of the men in Tom's world. Whether they were black, white, or any other ethnicity, they still had these features that were put together of this Tom's man that were part of every race.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and you're actually, let's just talk about your form of art.
Okay.
In that, how do you define yourself as an artist?
Performance. When I think about the type of work that I do, performance is always key. I think I've always been a performer since I was a little kid and put on my grandmother's high heels in Williamsburg I was just starting to walk. It's one of my earliest memories, walking down the hall in emerald green high heels in my grandmother's house. And it's always been a performance. I didn't just put them on and just hang out in the room. I stood at the top of the hallway and I walked down the length of the hall like I was on a runway. And I think life is a performance in every aspect of it. Whether we want to do it or not, we're performing it, just being alive. So
we're going to see through the interview images of you at different events that you actually curated and got others involved in, which is, I'm sort of impressed with your ability to actually bring guys together, and I use that word guys very liberally, and that and so let's talk about some of the projects that you worked on while you were here, and let's talk about the tableau vivant.
Tableau vivant, living picture. That came from, like you said, wanting to get people involved, and this theme of everybody's a Tom's man, and anybody, shape, weight, age, color can be a part of this world. And that's where that came in, along the already set up foundation of this support system within the community. So I was just kind of inspired by that and feeding off of that and bringing people together as a challenge to me. And that's kind of where that came from.
So you did 2 tableau vivants here, and then you also did an event at the Eagle Bar,
Yes.
which was called Black Magic.
Black Magic.
And that was right at the beginning, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
And as we moved through this process, I actually invited you to actually get involved with a project that was still in its preparatory stages, and it is called Black Magic. And it is about it's comes out of Tom's last 6-7 years of his life and his portfolio of sketches and finished drawings and what it actually depicts. And it depicts something that is called black magic.
Yeah.
Which we won't tell anybody what that is. So, anyways, you're still working and collaborating with me and with the foundation on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not even sure what the final. But I actually want to say that you're lying on some Finlayson sheets, and they actually this period was last year's and or into this year's, and it highlighted Tom's love for black man colored, and so they actually made the jump and they printed amazing different kinds of sheets and shower curtains and that,
bedding,
including, and not
pillows.
just black and white guys together, but also just Tom's what is the word? Bouquet of different ones.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what do you think your attributes are in regards to, I mean, I can tell you what some of them are, but I would like to see if you can, in regards to when you were organizing these events.
Of course, my challenge to myself is always to bring people together, and but I think I like to bring some sort of inspiration. I like to always think about planting a seed for inspiration within other people. So whether they're getting ideas from things that I do, or kind of growing with this sense of knowledge that we're seeking higher truths, and that's always kind of been one of the main goals when I do an event.
I have to say that we did another interview earlier this morning, and that artist had the same sense of awareness. And I have to think that we as a people, as a tribe, are just conscious.
Yeah.
We tend to be very awake and very conscious, and we know what works. So what I was impressed with was and I'll tell you my fears. My fears were that it was going to be so badly represented with guys, in that they wouldn't have the right gear. But you know what? Here I am. I've been around this so many years. I've even done so many parties, but I forgot what the magic was.
Yeah.
And the magic was when they got to participate. They were having so much fun.
Everyone was really excited.
And that transferred over to the public who were viewing it.
Yeah.
And they got excited and enjoyed. So it was very sort of it was transformational.
Yeah. I like to bring my energy, because I'm always focusing on optimistic, positive energy and putting out good vibes, if you will. But what I do like with anything that I do is the type of energy that I can relay to other people and have other people soak up by watching or being involved. So I think the energy too is something that I love to bring to any event, or even when I walk in the room, I like to bring a specific type of energy.
And so let's talk a little bit about when you do when you do performance of female chanteuses. Tell me who your favorites are. And what is it? Is it calling pantomime? Is it called a lip sync?
Lip syncing.
Yeah.
I call it hosting. At the end of the day, that's all I'm doing is hosting an event, hosting a party or a performance. But impersonating a female and putting on the bra and the wig and the heels and everything else, it's an art in itself. People call it drag or female impersonation. Some people do it to be who they are on the inside. I do it as a character, and as maybe even a piece of me that is from a long time ago, or maybe another life or something. I don't understand where the fire from it comes from, but there's a huge fire in there that just kind of explodes when I do.
And so when you perform and you do impersonation, do you actually what happens with you inside yourself? Do you actually sort of forget who Jordan is?
Well, even to go into halfway dressed up looking decent, you have to go into this entire ritual of putting on all these things that make you opposite of what you were born. So to become a female, go from male to female, you have to switch your cheekbones and your jawbones, because men have more pronounced jawbones, women have more pronounced cheekbones. So just going into that ritual of changing your facial structure puts me in another headspace. And it's a ritual, going into makeup and putting all these clothes on and getting into this space of how much you want to change or what you want to affect within the room. Because what you put on is going to affect how you walk in the room. I know if I put on a big blue wig and I walk in the room, it's going to make somebody smile. It's going to be a little more bubblegum pop and silly. But if I put on like a long dark wig, I know if I walk into the room, people are going to be looking over wondering, what's she doing? What's going to happen? What's she going to pull out? So it's just different ways of affecting the room. But yeah.
Yeah. And so do you have any names for these impersonations?
Oh my gosh. I had Trejor, who was I stole from my girlfriend, first girlfriend back in 7th grade. Right now I'm Jordan. I decided to just cut all the extra names and just be myself. And just a single name just sounded right. Cher, Madonna, Jordan. So Jesus. So I've just been focusing on one name. But I've gone through a plethora of different names. I even got inspired from my grandmother for a few years and had my grandmother's names as my drag name. So I want to ask you a question, and you don't have. Is that can you share your aspirations of where you want to take this? I want to change. I want to change the world. That's my ultimate goal, is to affect some sort of change that will be looked back at and say that was a point in which this person began to affect change within this part of how humans interact with each other and how they move on in the evolution of humanity.
What has been your biggest hurdles that you've had to in being a performance artist so far?
The absolute biggest hurdle would be myself. As much as I'm up there on the stage and as much as it takes for me to get up there, there's also a second person who can kind of push against positivity and be more self-aware than I need to be, or be a little less confident than I was the day before. But that's one thing that I do battle with, and is myself, negative points within myself, and trying to grow. And
you don't show that, I want to say.
And I try not to,
yeah.
But even not, and that's at my detriment, because not showing it, sometimes I don't deal with it, and then I'm pretending like things are fine when I'm not really dealing with an issue that, well, I really need to fix and grow from.
This is a awkward question, because I'm gonna just put the wrong words, but where I'm going with this is that you're in an interracial relationship,
mm-hmm.
and that I know has its own challenges,
mm-hmm.
and I know that you wouldn't trade it for anything.
No.
And that it's your it's the blessing
mm-hmm.
that you have. Josh is do you call him Josh or Joshua?
I call him Joshua.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about the country Jordan.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about going there?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The capital of Jordan is Amman, which is ironic and a bad gay joke.
So, so in regards to Black Magic and it being a focus, there is a focus on Tom's men of color,
mm-hmm.
and so that can be really taken and really made the special focus, the highlight, the star, the lighting is focused on men of color, and so your whole project around here, and I know that you not color is not an issue, but it is an issue.
It definitely is.
And so,
yeah.
Is there something that you could share with everybody about how we as a group are working through this, and any guidance you can deliver?
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to take off this fur coat for this one. Oh.
Well, I think the pink works really well.
It does.
So who did this t-shirt, do we know?
Lockwood, right?
Yeah.
It's a Lockwood.
Butch, please.
Butch, please. One of my favorite things about being involved is just playing with all this stuff here. Whether it's leather, sounding equipment that you've given us, or jackets, or putting on something for an event. I always have fun exploring this house and everything that's in it. And that comes along with
Butch, please.
Butch, please,
Yeah.
t-shirts and merch and everything that's coming out. It's crazy to see how much the foundation has grown.
And also how much it really is about people getting comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
And so, and sometimes I feel like a daddy's, and sometimes I feel like a granddaddy, but it's also, we got a donation yesterday, and the number one reason why he donated this sizable amount of money to us was because of the young artists and the artists in residence.
Oh,
so
wow.
He was impressed with how young artists were taking advantage of what we have here at the house and at the foundation, and also our willingness to actually put them up on and let them be visibly seen in that. So I think that I'm going to sort of end this part, and if you want to say anything to, this is your opportunity to the camera and that. And I just want to say that your artist in residency really hasn't ended, because until that project, and I don't even want to call it a book, that project gets its next level of presentation, you're still an artist in residency.
Yeah, that's true, because the project hasn't.
Right.
But I think with the important, why I'm so excited to work on the project is to put some sort of my message in and out on this enormous platform that's worldwide. And I've done a lot with race relations back in college with the Conciliation Project and undergrad and a little bit of graduate. And it's always been about consciousness and awareness and where we are going in order to be able to speak about things that are wrong around us in order to then conciliate and then move forward to fix the issue versus tolerate it, my teacher always said. Shout out to Dr. T. But with me, it's been about support from both sides. I think even if you aren't 100% involved, am I sitting on you? Your lap?
Yeah.
This is the first day we met. It was a Christmas party, and you told me to come over and sit on your lap. Yeah, those that Tom Travelers. But it's about support from both sides and being able to recognize all that are present. And I think once we begin to recognize and be aware of the differences that make us beautiful and accept them and not shun them out and act like they don't exist, we can then begin to heal the relationship that we have. Because once you recognize the other person, you'll then recognize that you have these things within yourself that they also do. And you have no other way but to come together.